Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today. So, we're going to do something a little different. We are going to use the calendar basically as a time travel vessel. Specifically, we're zooming right in on one seemingly ordinary date, May 23rd. It's actually wild how a single day, spread across entirely different centuries, can act as a lens to teach us about human innovation, some pretty catastrophic mistakes, global politics, and, well, our shared humanity. From the operating room to the television screen, the events that went down on this specific date created a massive butterfly effect, one that ripples right into our modern lives today. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our flight itinerary for today. First, 1843, pioneering modern surgery. Then, 1934, the end of an era. We'll hit 1955 for some Cold War battle lines, jump to 1982 when India goes color, and finally, championing global maternal health. Just to anchor ourselves before we take off, take a quick look at this timeline. We are making some massive chronological jumps today. By hopping between 1843, 1934, 1955, and 1982, we'll see exactly how we can draw a direct line between the past and the comforts, the tech, and the geopolitical realities of our modern world. It is literally all connected. All right, first stop, 1843, pioneering modern surgery and the birth of William Stewart Halsted. And this brilliantly illustrates why this guy matters. If you, or maybe a loved one, has ever had a safe surgery, you owe a massive debt to Halsted. Before his era, man, going into the operating room was a terrifying gamble. Surgeries were extremely dangerous, with just massive infection rates, mostly because doctors simply did not understand the vital importance of hygiene. It was frankly a deadly reality. But after Halsted, he championed strict cleanliness in the operating room, completely revolutionized how surgeons were trained, and introduced standard safety equipment that changed healthcare forever. Let's break down exactly what he did. First, he mandated rigorous cleanliness in operating theaters, which was actually a completely radical idea at the time. Second, he structured surgical training, creating a system of residencies that medical schools literally still use today. And third, he introduced surgical gloves. But here is the amazing detail. He initially had these rubber gloves created just to protect his operating nurses' hands from the harsh, irritating chemicals they were using. Actually, it was only later that they became the global standard for protecting both staff and patients from infection. That one single observation has saved millions of lives. Moving on to 1934, end of an era, the demise of Bonnie and Clyde. Leaping forward to the Great Depression, May 23rd marks the fatal end of America's most notorious criminal couple. And their legacy is incredibly complex. They were notorious for this ruthless string of bank robberies, car thefts, and violent crimes all across multiple states, yet they attracted massive media attention. The newspapers back then painted them almost as these rebellious, romantic outlaws who were constantly outwitting the authorities. It elicited this really strange mix of public fear, but also bizarre admiration. People treated them more like movie characters than dangerous criminals, but reality absolutely caught up with them on this day in 1934. Police had meticulously tracked their movements and set a heavy ambush down in Louisiana. As the couple drove down a rural road in a stolen car, officers opened heavy gunfire, ending their lives and their crimes free instantly. Yet their story remains immortalized in pop culture today. Okay, jumping to 1955, Cold War battle lines. West Germany joins NATO. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that to understand the gravity of this event, we really have to define the era. The Cold War wasn't fought with typical battlefield combat between the two major power groups. Instead, the United States and its allies, and the Soviet Union and its communist allies, competed fiercely through politics, the building of military alliances, technological advancements, and, of course, the space race. It was essentially a high-stakes global chess match where both sides deliberately avoided a direct, full-scale war. And right here we see the direct cause and effect of May 23, 1955. The United States and its allies had already formed NATO for collective defense. But when a newly rebuilt West Germany was allowed to join that alliance and rearm, well, the Soviet Union strongly opposed the move. Their immediate reaction was that the communist countries created their own opposing military alliance called the Warsaw Pact. This specific action and reaction directly drew the battle lines and escalated global tensions that would shape international relations for decades. Let's shift gears to 1982. India goes color, a broadcasting revolution.
So the crucial point is really understanding the landscape before this massive shift. Prior to the 1980s, television ownership in India was relatively rare, and what did exist was mostly just black and white. But 1982 changed everything. The catalyst? The Asian Games held in New Delhi. Preparing for this huge international sporting event forced an incredible expansion of broadcasting infrastructure, which sparked a color television boom and the massive growth of the Doordarshan television network across the entire country.
Think about why this matters on a human level, though. It wasn't just about a new piece of technology. It was a total cultural awakening. For the very first time, entire families and neighborhoods were gathering around glowing screens to watch sports, movies, news, and cultural programs in vibrant, lifelike color. Buying a color TV became this powerful, tangible symbol of a modern lifestyle and progress for Indian families. It literally brought the vividness of the outside world right into their living rooms.
All right, let's take a quick palate cleanser. We've talked about surgical innovations, notorious outlaws, global superpowers, and the television revolution. But who or what has been around to watch all of this history happen? Like, who was here before Halstead, before NATO, and even before the dinosaurs?
The answer is the cockroach. Yeah, no way around it. Cockroaches have existed on Earth for more than 300 million years. They are considered among the strongest surviving species on the planet. It's a slightly humorous, maybe a little creepy reminder of humanity's relatively short yet incredibly chaotic and fast-paced timeline on this Earth. Let's move to and see how this builds into our modern reality. Section 5, Championing Global Maternal Health and the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula. May 23rd holds deeply important humanitarian significance today. But to understand why, we really need to understand the condition itself. Obstetric fistula is a severe and devastating childhood injury. It almost exclusively affects women in poor and underdeveloped regions where basic, proper medical care is simply unavailable during labor. And beyond the severe physical health problems, it tragically leads to intense social isolation for the women suffering from it. And that is exactly why the UN has carved out May 23rd for this cause. This isn't just a date on the calendar, it is a global call to action. It spreads critical awareness for maternal health care and promotes fundamental women's rights. It's a day where global organizations unite to advocate for access to safe childbirth facilities and to support on-the-ground medical campaigns to help affected women. Above all, it serves as a powerful reminder that basic healthcare access should never be a privilege. It is absolutely a fundamental human right. Wow, we've covered incredible ground today, from Halstead's life-saving surgical gloves to the geopolitical chessboard of the Cold War, from the ambush of Bonnie and Clyde to families gathering around their first color TV in India, and finally to the ongoing global fight for maternal health. Every single one of these moments stems from May 23rd, creating the world we navigate right now. So I'll leave you with this question. Which of these historical leaps do you think influences your modern world the most? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. If you enjoyed this structured journey through time, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below letting us know what historical deep dive you'd like us to unpack next. Until then, keep learning.